Thank you for the opportunity to discuss GAO's work examining federal efforts to manage the risk of fraud, waste, and abuse in foreign assistance. U.S. foreign assistance plays an important role in advancing U.S. foreign policy goals. It supports countries that are strategic to U.S. security and economic interest, countries experiencing conflict, and vulnerable populations around the world. In fiscal year 2026, Congress appropriated roughly $50 billion for the Department of State and other foreign affairs programs. For many years, much of this assistance was administered by the U.S. Agency for International Development. However, following changes in 2025, the U.S. Department of State is now the federal government's primary provider of foreign assistance. This time of transition calls for a focus on fraud risk management. Foreign assistance is often delivered in complex environments, marked by conflict, instability, and humanitarian crisis, conditions that can heighten the risk of fraud, waste, and abuse. Although most federal spending is not lost to fraud, every diverted dollar weakens programs, wastes taxpayers' dollars, and undermines public trust. Because fraud is costly and difficult to detect, prosecute, and recover, prevention is the most effective way to protect taxpayer dollars and ensure program integrity. Our work has identified several factors that make foreign assistance particularly vulnerable. First, assistance is often delivered through implementing partners, such as contractors, nonprofits, and international organizations. These partners may also fund subpartners. If controls are weak anywhere in that chain, the risk of fraud increases. Second, many programs operate in conflict zones where violence and instability may limit in-person oversight by agencies and partners, making it hard to verify how funds were actually used. Third, humanitarian crises often require rapid delivery of aid. When agencies must move funding quickly to address emergencies, maintaining strong controls can be more challenging. Finally, agencies have a desire to work directly with local organizations to deliver assistance. This approach can improve long-term sustainability, but some local partners may have limited experience managing federal awards or maintaining strong financial controls. GAO's work has identified real examples of fraud, waste, and abuse in foreign assistance. For instance, our recent review of the U.S. African Development Foundation identified significant fraud risk management weaknesses, as well as highly questionable procurement practices that we reported were red flags for potential fraud schemes. The Director of Financial Management later pled guilty to contract-related offenses. In another example, our 2023 review of fraud risk management in conflict zones described widespread diversion of food aid in Somalia. And in Afghanistan, GAO reported multiple instances of fraud and waste tied to reconstruction programs. These examples demonstrate why strong fraud risk management is essential. Agencies have taken some positive steps. They conduct certain risk assessments, review some partners' past performance, require reporting of suspected violations to inspector generals, and sometimes use third-party monitoring to access hard-to-reach locations. However, our work has identified significant weaknesses. For example, some agencies like state and USAID did not conduct program-specific fraud risk assessments, leaving them vulnerable to predictable risks. Fraud awareness training was not required, limiting officials' awareness of how to prevent, detect, or respond to potential fraud. Oversight of subpartners was inconsistent or wholly lacking. Third-party monitoring often focused on performance management and was not designed for fraud risk detection. And agencies did not always use available data analytics to identify unusual spending patterns that can be indications of fraud or abuse. From July 2016 through September 2025, GAO has made more than 50 recommendations to improve fraud risk management in foreign assistance. As early as 2026, agencies had implemented only 22 of those recommendations, while 29 remain unimplemented. Addressing our recommendations will be particularly important as foreign assistance programs are restructured and the State Department assumes a larger role in administering them. Congress can also help strengthen oversight by reinstating certain requirements for agencies to regularly report on their anti-fraud and risk management activities. By strengthening controls, learning from past risks, and implementing GAO and OIG recommendations, agencies can better protect taxpayer dollars and ensure that foreign assistance achieves its intended purpose. Chairman Mills, Ranking Member Moskowitz, members of the subcommittee, this concludes my oral statement. Be happy to take questions at this time.